One of the questions that we get asked often is, what in the world is going on with container prices? Are they going up? Are they coming down? Is now a good time to buy a container, or should I be renting a container? My name is Ross Black, and our company is called Get Simple Box, and we help people move and store their things in the Western United States. And we also sell a lot of containers. So I wanted to take just a couple of minutes today just to share what we're seeing with kind of pricing trends as far as the price of new and used shipping containers goes. So really quickly, three main components go into building a container or getting a container available for sale. And those three things have definitely gone up in price over the last several years. The price of steel, a lot of people say steel is through the roof. A lot of roofs are made of steel. And the cost of steel has gone up pretty significantly. The cost of labor hasn't gone up necessarily double over the last couple of years, but when you look back over the course of a decade, it for sure has doubled. And then the area that we've seen the biggest increase has been in transportation. Most containers that are called new, they're actually one-trip containers, and so they've made one trip across the ocean or one trip even around the world. And the cost to make that one trip has increased pretty dramatically, especially in the past 2 years. So a few other factors that kind of go into what we're seeing with the container price and availability right now. Number one, just kind of like FYI, basically every container in the world is manufactured in China, and we're excited that there's two new shipping container manufacturing plants are being opened in Vietnam later this year. But that's kind of like South China, right? So it's not the same as having manufacturing happening all around the world or here in North America. But the hope is that we'll continue to see production opening up in different parts of the world, and maybe even just eliminate some of the wasted transportation of empty containers moving from one country to another before being put to good use. Definitely over the last couple of years, we've seen it where governments have told everyone to stay home. Sometimes they've sent money, and people have bought a lot of things made of steel, small things and big things, and so the demand of steel has increased pretty rapidly over the past couple of years. And then this is an area where we've seen pretty significant increase in just kind of overall cost that gets passed along to the end user, and that's on the shipping lines. For years, the carriers were making basically no money. Sometimes they were losing money, and sometimes they were even going bankrupt. And at the beginning of COVID pandemic, carriers were kind of caught off guard, where it just seemed like everything was in the wrong place at the wrong time. Ships were in the wrong place, and containers were in the wrong place, and pretty important supplies were not where you thought they would be. And so over the past 12 months, for sure, we've seen shipping lines increase their kind of buffer, kind of stock of containers, so that they've got containers kind of all around the world just ready to go and ready to be put to use. And also, as I mentioned earlier, just the cost of that voyage across the ocean has increased quite significantly, in some cases like 10 times more expensive. So we're so annoyed that the price has gone up, and at the same time, we're grateful that the price of a container hasn't increased by 10 times. But it definitely has almost doubled in the past couple of years. Last kind of component just to consider is congestion. We feel it in our commute, and you kind of feel it in the roads and in your neighborhood or on the freeway. But we definitely feel it in container depots and ports, and it's not the fault of truckers. If you go to any interstate at midnight or 3 a.m, you'll see a steady line of hardworking men and women that are just kind of pushing logistics and transporting goods from one place to the other, just keeping the supply chain rolling. And so we're so grateful for our truckers. We've got a lot of them on our team. But there's inefficiency in the ports and in the depots. Just like kind of basic math, a container comes into a port, gets unloaded, and gets stacked. And then later on, a truck or a train comes and it gets unstacked and put on that truck or train and goes to get emptied. Rather than staying gone, it comes back empty, back into that same port or depot and gets restacked until another truck comes, our truck comes and says, let's get that out of here and get it off to the end user. So there's just that kind of inefficiency of containers being handled multiple times. We learn a lot from an organization called Drury, and they just they track kind of all things logistic, including containers and shipping. And what they're telling us is that we should expect kind of the current trends, the current issues with container pricing and availability to really last into 2025. We are noticing that the manufacturer of containers and the shipping lines are both just kind of have drawn a line in the sand saying, like, we are not going to do this for no profit anymore. And we're gonna hold the line on the price. And additionally, we're noticing just inflation has gone kind of rampant, I guess, over the last 12 months for sure. And the key to inflation is, like, the longer the government is actively messing around with it, the longer it'll take for it to get worked out. And so as of today, here we are, kind of end of March. The government's still messing with it, and so we would expect to see inflation be a factor in kind of container price, in transportation price, and labor for quite some time. I'm going to skip that. We've got political instability and just some hard times around the world. There's a lot of great opportunities, but there's a lot of hard times still to come. Everyone thought that 2021 was going to be better, and then maybe 2022. But the reality is, there's just so much that's hard, and we just have to kind of step up and show leadership and continuously improve the processes and provide good service throughout it. So here's what we are seeing. The price of used boxes is coming down faster than the price of new boxes. We don't expect the price of new boxes to really come down much at all, but we do expect to see some more used equipment available, and hopefully at a lower price than what we saw in 2021. The price of 40 footers just skyrocketed at the start of the pandemic. And we're starting to see those prices come down. I'm not sure how much more they'll come down, but they definitely came back down into kind of like more normal territory. And so that's encouraging. We don't expect to see the price of 20-foot boxes kind of move that quickly. So bottom line, we believe that the price has peaked for the most part, but we don't believe over the next 3 years that the price is going to decrease very much. And we definitely don't believe that it's going to collapse. We might see like a 5 to 10% decrease or increase over the next 12 months on what the price of a box is. But we just don't expect to see the price go to like whatever the price was in 2019 for many, many years. What we're doing to kind of keep our pricing in line, for one, we just want to provide a good service. We're focused on building a rental fleet more than selling containers, and so we're not looking to jack up the price just because we can. We're also placing smaller orders so that our pricing is more in check with what's reality right now, and just kind of more frequently replenishing our stock. And then we're doing everything we can just to eliminate waste in transportation, so we can pick up a box and direct deliver it, or just kind of anything that we can to eliminate waste so the customer is not the one that has to pay for it. And if you find yourself in need of a box to rent or to move with, or you'd like to buy a box, we'd love to help you out. You can visit us anytime at getsimplebox.com, or you can visit any of our locations in Washington, Oregon, Arizona, and we're continuing to expand. So hopefully we'll have something near you in the near future. Thanks.